telling you, hi, hi, all of y'all. Now to talk about Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, and all of that stuff. Like Instacart or all that stuff. Like I get a lot of you who suggest that I do that. Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, all that stuff. But you know what? It's like I have done Uber before. I drove Uber before, and I liked the job. I mean, I liked the job itself. But the thing I just didn't like on it, well, it's the unfair rating systems that Uber has. That because my experience with Uber is like we would have some Karens sometimes, and then Uber expects us to be God there, to be God. I mean, they expect us like to have a perfect rating, 5 stars out of 5 stars. Like they expect us to be God, basically, which we aren't. I'm not God. So what I'm talking about, because like they want us to be perfect, like where the they want all the customers to magically like us perfectly and stuff. But the experience that I had is like, I mean, like I would have a lot of customers liking my service and stuff, and then I would just get one Karen that gives me a 1 star for no good reason at all, like for a reason that's not my fault, that kind of thing. Sometimes, a lot of times, these low ratings, it has nothing to do with my driving or anything like that. Sometimes they just give a bad rating just because they don't like me. I don't know. But I do know what's bad about it all is like when they give a bad rating, if they're gonna give even a 4 star rating, that can harm my score. I mean, and then Uber will threaten to fire me. Like that was too much stress for me on that part. So, and then one day I was like doing my Uber, and I did it for like 6 months, and then they deactivate me, telling me that I need to pay $60 to reactivate it again because I was not keeping up with my rating of 5.6 or higher. I mean, I had a 5.5, when they fired me, or when they let me go, or they deactivated me. And I said, no more. I'm not going to be paying $60 to reactivate. I said, no more. And that's it for me. I mean, I'm not doing that anymore. I mean, because, the pay at the time really wasn't that great. I mean, it turned out being like $10 an hour. I mean, Uber, like because I was putting a lot of miles in my car. I mean, a lot of miles, a lot of gas, and all that stuff. I was using my Kia at the time. I mean, I liked the job. I liked the job. I liked driving people places, and it was fun. I mean, but other things that I didn't like on Uber too is like it would end up a lot of times it would end up taking me to way over in Malibu somewhere, and then what I hate is like I cannot and that's where I end up with, and then it would be nice, and I would always be hoping that someone would tag me, like to take them a ride, to give them a ride to San Bernardino or something. But back home, I would wish that they would do that, but apparently not. And so multiple times I ended up way over in LA somewhere. I always ended up way over there, and then I would have to drive home at the end of the day, and it was like it would be 4 hours every time, because like driving home like in the rush hour traffic, 4 hours every time, to get home, driving home. And that part is one of those things that I just hated, about it. And then Uber. See, the thing I don't like too is like I just never know where I'm gonna go. I never know when I get tagged. I just never know like where I'm gonna go, where I'm gonna end up going for the trip, and I don't know how long or how short the trip is, that kind of thing. So anyway, so like the like I say, the experience that I had that made me not want to do it anymore. It's the fact that I was putting a lot of wear and tear on my car. I was like putting a lot of hours. Well, I don't care about the hours, but I was putting a lot of miles on my car and a lot of wear and tear on my car, and then to get paid $10 an hour. I mean, like it turned out being $10 an hour. The most I ever got in one day was I think $200 or maybe $200 or $300 in one day. But I worked 12 hours that day. I mean, so I would imagine, like DoorDash. I mean, I know it's not the same as Uber. I mean, DoorDash is a bit different because you buy stuff for someone and then like well, DoorDash or Instacart or whatever that is. I don't feel like I have interest in doing that. I just don't. I mean, I'm not really into driving anymore. I mean, I used to be. I loved driving before, but no more. I just don't want it anymore. I mean, it's like putting wear and tear in the car. But the thing is, I mean, it just doesn't interest me on doing that. It just doesn't. Well, I mean, like one of those things is because I feel like I don't know how the rating system works on that. But I mean, I just don't want it. I mean, it just doesn't interest me to drive. I don't really like to drive. I mean, that much. I mean, I don't want to drive like many hours. I used to like to drive, but no more. I just don't want it anymore. I mean, I'm getting old for that. I mean, it's just how I feel about it. I mean, then I can imagine that I would have, the anxiety that I would have if McDonald's or one of those restaurants gets the order wrong and stuff, and then they seal off the bags and all that stuff, right? And well, of course they're gonna do that because they want to make sure that us drivers are not like taking a bite of their yeah. But I mean, I can imagine, like that some of the order that they'll get the orders wrong, and I'm not gonna know that. I won't know that, and I would imagine that the customer would get it, and then they would probably get on me for it. I mean, they would get on me. I mean, I'm just imagining that. I don't know if they do or not. I mean, I just don't really want the anxiety of like, what if I accidentally drop the food or something? I don't want to have that kind of thing. I don't want to be somebody. I don't want to have somebody getting all mad at me for something like that. I mean, anything like that could happen. Like I just don't want the anxiety on that. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. Or Instacart or whatever. I mean, I just don't find. I just don't have any interest on it. I mean, I just don't. It's just like me. It's like for me like other. That's another thing that I know. Another thing that I keep getting the recommendations for is a security officer. I'm not really into that. I'm not interested in doing that either because it's just not me to want to do that. I mean, well, it just doesn't interest me, to do that. Another thing too that I've been getting kind of like recommendations to is a truck driver, and well, even that too. I mean, I don't really have interest in driving in general. I mean, unless I would be desperate, unless I was desperate, and if I had somebody who really wants to hire me, because even jobs that we don't want, that any of us may not want, they may not hire you, even if it's a job that you don't want. Like even those don't hire either, or even those are hard to get. A job that you don't want as well. Yeah. So well, truck driving, I'm not really interested in that either. Especially if it's one of those jobs where you go cross country, well, that's a no go for me. I don't want to be like gone for several days. I just don't want it. This is not me to do that. I mean, that's just not me. I mean, so yeah, those are like some of those little recommendations. I get a lot of that. I get a lot of you recommending me do Uber and stuff. I just don't want it. I don't want to do it. I mean, I just don't want the anxiety. I mean, or I mean, I just don't want to drive. I just don't want to do it anymore. I used to like to drive. You know, when I had a job as a delivery driver. I mean, I used to love to drive. I mean, but I kind of lost my like for driving anymore. I mean, it's because of like, yeah, I just don't like it. I mean, anymore. I lost my interest in driving now these days. And I mean, well, one of those reasons why I don't have much interest in driving because I hate the traffic. I hate the rush hour. And then I hate the anxiety. I hate getting the anxiety of the car is going to be okay through that long trip, you know, because I have older cars now. And that's another thing, too. That's another thing. And I mean, I'm going to have a lot of anxiety driving these older cars for long distances because I mean it's anxiety if I'm working like Uber or something. I don't want the car to break down and shit. That would be a bad thing to happen. You know, like, that would give me anxiety. I mean that's so all those things put together. So it just won't work for me, unfortunately. You know. So anyways, so that's that. Yeah. Well, some of you who probably was wondering about my last interview, well, apparently they didn't hire me. They decided not to hire me. I mean, apparently, yeah. I mean, well, you know what? It's because I feel like I messed up on the interview because they asked me tell us about yourself. I didn't know what to answer, man. I didn't know what to answer, and so I just answered, well, you know what? Well, I'm actually looking to do something different. I would like to try something different. I was a forklift driver, but I want to try something different. And I messed up right there when I said that. And I think that's probably part of what made them not want to hire me anymore because I didn't know what to say when they asked me, tell us about yourself. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to tell. I should have told them. My wife then tells me that I should have just told them that I'm a hard worker. I mean, I'm reliable. I'm able to withstand high amounts of stress, that kind of stuff. I should have done that. I lived here in California all my life, that kind of stuff, you know. But I didn't think to say that, man. I didn't think to say that. I was lost, you know, because I didn't know, man. So yeah, I screwed up. But anyway, well, I guess that job was no more. It's not gonna happen anymore. So I have to continue looking around. So, all right. Well, I hope this answers your question about. I mean, I hope this satisfies you guys' like thing about like suggesting me do Uber and stuff. And well, that's my take on this. So all right, see you on the next one, next video.